The owner of Rolling Stone has just named his 22-year-old son as the head of operations at rollingstone.com.
Oh boy.
So this is getting a lot of attention because of course you have these professional journalists and these writers that work for Rolling Stone, and all of a sudden their boss is a 22-year-old, and it doesn't help.
Guilty.
There he is. Just to give you guys a sense of what his qualifications are, he recently graduated from Brown University, and while he was in school, he was in a country band with Scout Willis. So he's well connected.
I see. Oh, so he was in a band with Bruce Willis's daughter, so obviously deserved it. And I don't know what kind of drugs gives you those sunken eyes, but he's been on them for at least 18 months straight. Okay, the red sunken eyes. But that's good qualifications for Rolling Stone.
So some interesting tidbits about this. He will not only make editorial decisions at rollingstone.com, which is going to be a disaster, by the way. He's also going to make advertising decisions, and he will be the head of their social media department, which is a little bit of a disaster because he doesn't even have a Twitter account.
Oh, that's Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay, now look, here's the thing. He went to Brown, he's probably really smart, and he might do a decent job, right? And I'm not judging him like there's no way he could do a decent job. No. But is it fair to give that job to somebody straight out of college when there are people who are experts in that field who you might have, done a little bit better with? I mean, expert on social. Like, if you said, okay, here's my son, and I'm going to make him the head of social media at rollingstone.com. That's a little sketchy, but I can live with it. You know your son, and you think, you know what? You guys don't know it yet, but I've lived with this kid for 22 years. He's incredibly talented. You want to you're going to go bold. Okay, head of the whole thing? No, you can't do that. Even if you're right, you can't do that. Even if it turns out he's the most brilliant kid in the world, you can't do that.
I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, and it would be the equivalent of you coming to us in 20 years and telling us, hey, Pro's gonna be your boss now.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy. Now, look, I get it because this is what fathers have been doing for all of history, right? I mean,
I've been here for 27 years, and Pro's gonna be my boss.
What's the first thing you'd say to Pro when you walk into his corner office with the view? So, Prometheus, what I need to do is give you some assignments.
Yeah. Look, dude, we almost changed your diapers. Okay, so keep it real. Okay, so
Jann Wenner is the owner of Rolling Stone, and by the way, it is a family-owned business. Okay,
he can do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever.
It's just a question of whether it's wise or not.
Right, exactly. And so this is what all of the employees got to read. It said, "Dear all, David Kang and I are very pleased, and I'm very proud to announce that Gus Wenner, after leading the relaunch and redesign effort for our website, will now continue by heading up the overall operations at rollingstone.com."
So now that's just rollingstone.com. But it's still gigantic, right? Of
course it is, definitely, especially in the age of new media. I mean, Rolling Stone is doing well in terms of their magazine and everything, but pretty soon I'm sure that it will be centered on their website because that's new media. That's what people are focusing on. But I will say that there are some people that are trying to defend him, some people who do work for rollingstone.com. One employee said the following: "He's a good kid who came in with a lot of great ideas." Of course, he spoke on the condition of anonymity. He shadowed Chief Digital Officer David Kang and the website for a while, and he was pretty deep in it.
Ooh, wow, he was pretty deep in it. He shadowed the guy who was actually doing the job, who's now, by the way, working under him. Okay.
So great.
So, oops. No, look, again, I know, fathers, time immemorial, love your sons, that's great, I love that, and you want to hand things off to your son. Bounds of reason, that's all I'm saying. And look, at 21, I did a joint project with my dad, and it was important, and we worked on it, and it was a business venture, but he didn't hand the company over to me at 21, right? And he didn't have people who were working there for 20 years all of a sudden report to me. I know the instinct, but you got to fight it here. It's a bridge too far.
Well, you brought it up, and I was thinking about right before you did. So when people do hand the company off to their kid is always going to be younger than someone who's been there. I can see a difference, but it's that big of a difference. Say he turns 30 and he's like, man, I'm 72 years old, and I'm done. I got to hand off to my kid. You're not going to hand off to Bob, the CEO. You're like, I'm the owner. My son's getting it.
Yeah. Look, that's how the Roman Empire collapsed. Okay. Now, I shouldn't talk too soon, right? Fast forward 20 years. But Marcus Aurelius, a great leader in Rome, wise guy, nearly destroyed the empire because he couldn't resist not handing it off to the wisest general, as they used to do, was the tradition. Instead, he handed it off to his son, who turned out to be a douchebag, okay, and started a long list of douchebag emperors, okay, where they kept handing it off to their sons, right? So, yes, JR, there's a little bit of a difference between 22 and 30, because at 30 he might have proven himself either in another context or within the company, right? And then you could point to X, Y, and Z that he did really successfully, and then people who are 48 say, look, I get it, man. It's his company. And that kid, he was pretty good when he did X, Y, and Z, so I can live with it.
And there's a world of difference between a 22-year-old and a 30-year-old. Between 22 and 30, you experience so much in life. And that's when you experience, the evolution of your personality, I think. So I think a 30-year-old would be much more trustworthy than a 22-year-old.
Yeah, and he could do the greatest job in the world. It's just the optics of it are too unacceptable.